Muhammad, the best defense in the heavyweight, the best move in the heavyweight. But shorty man did it boxing. He beat him one time. Everything is possible in your life when you believe.
Douglas insists that he's going to shock the world.
This is the most trouble Mike Tyson has ever been in at this stage of a title defense.
This is the most trouble Jimmy's ever been at any stage.
When you believe, everything is possible.
Things in the uppercut. What an uppercut by Douglas. Down goes Tyson.
It's over. It's over. Mike Tyson has been knocked out.
It's the greatest upset in boxing history.
What is good, Danger Zone Boxing Talk? It is BC Left Hook here as always with my partner and co-host, Twine B. Livity. Here tonight we want to drop a little bit of boxing knowledge on everybody, I hope. But we're definitely going to get into some topics. Twine, how you doing? While you're giving your introduction, I'm going to run over to Facebook and pass this stream around real fast.
Man, everything is everything, man. Just enjoying life. Glad to be back on, getting going. We got a lot of news. I mean, for this to be this early in the year. So, I mean, a lot of big things coming, and we're going to dive into some topics. So, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it, and we got a big weekend ahead of us. That said, I guess you want me to go ahead and go into our first topic?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. We want to go ahead and go into our first topic?
Let me drop out real fast.
All right.
My bad, it kicked me out. I was sharing it on Facebook. But you're absolutely right. There's a ton of excellent fights coming up. We're going to get into a fight that many of us for years have been waiting for. This finally, I think too late, going to happen, but I'm finally going to get to see it, and that's going to be Amir versus Kell Brook. Before that, let's talk about the pound-for-pound king of boxing, and some reports have came out that doesn't necessarily, it's not, in my opinion, a bad thing that if he does choose one option over the other, but it does kind of paint a picture, if you will, that the pound-for-pound king may not want no piece of Benavidez. I'm just going to say it like that because a report came out earlier this week that one Canelo Alvarez had turned down $100 million for a two-fight guarantee with Jermell Charlo and Benavidez, but he's looking more towards taking a fight with Dimitri Bivol and a third fight with Gennady Golovkin. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to see him fight Bivol. I know there's some people that have for a while. James Dominguez and me had this conversation. I don't mean to speak for him now, but he has expressed that he believes that Bivol is the guy that can beat Canelo. I think Bivol's skill set is excellent. I think that he does have an opportunity in that fight to beat Canelo. I'm not really interested in Triple G3. So I'm kind of hoping Triple G loses, and you can call me a hater because I don't want to see Triple G versus Canelo 3. I really don't. And I think that the stipulation is Triple G has to win his fight, and I think that Triple G, if I read correctly, is actually holding up getting this deal done. Now let's talk about the deal that everyone is saying that he passed up. That was Charlo and Benavidez, and the sentiment is the breaking point in that negotiation was that they were going to make him fight Benavidez. I'm going to kick it over to you and let you talk about what your opinion on this, and then I'll come back.
I mean, I guess I can echo a lot of the same sentiments that you have as far as this the choices. Bivol is good, but I mean, if I want to see him fight at 175, it needs to be Bitterbeef. That's just where I'm at. You know, I know James feels how he feels. I've seen a couple people say that Bivol, you know, probably has the skill set to beat Canelo, which he does. You know, he's a good fighter, but I mean, we haven't seen him in I guess in the coup de grace. You know, even in this fight against Joe Smith. You know, Joe Smith actually hurt his got injured in that fight. So I mean, he was pretty much fighting with one arm, even though you know Bivol won pretty handily. But I mean, that's been the long time we've seen him against somebody that could possibly test him. You know, with Joe Smith being a champion now. So I mean, I think it's a good fight stylistically. It might bore people, but I mean, I think it's a solid fight that could test Canelo. But I mean, as far as Triple G, a third fight with him, I mean, I think that shit ran its course, and it didn't happen immediately. If it didn't happen a couple years ago, like I don't want to see it now. Triple G would be 40 by the time they fucking fight. And he'd had to move up to 168 in a weight class he's never fought before. So I mean, I'm not necessarily interested in that dynamic in the third fight. You know, even though we've seen it in other fights where guys are rematch at a higher weight class, but like I said, this is a 40-year-old Triple G that's been inactive for 2 years, essentially. I don't necessarily clamor to see that match now with Canelo. You know, maybe a couple years ago prior, when it was closer to when the first rematch happened, I'd be okay. But as far as him rejecting the PBC deal, and I don't know if it's coming down to numbers or what, because they say both offers are close to $100 million. So, I mean, I kind of feel like, Canelo's doing this chess match thing and picking and choosing, but it's not a good look. Canelo's going to continue to get the hatred. I won't say the hatred, but I think is well deserved in this case because you honestly do have guys that have chased them fucking 2 weight classes already. You got Charlo who would be moving up to 168 just for the opportunity when he's a 160 fighter, still belt holder at 160.
Well, from what I understand, from what I've read, it's not Charlo, it's Benavidez being part of the deal. That
I think it's both of them, man. I'm not gonna say it's one and the other. I think Benavidez is definitely a problem for him. Canelo said he's never wanted to fight another Hispanic fighter again anyway. So, I mean, that was always something. He's been saying that the last couple years. So, I mean, him realistically fighting Benavidez, I don't think really was going to come to fruition anyway, just because Canelo's been on that sentiment for like 2 years already that he won't fight another Hispanic fighter coming up. So, I mean, he's put it out there already. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that Canelo is doing this. It's actually the safer set of fights for the same amount of money. Shit, Canelo calls this is what you have. This is what happens when you have a cash cow in boxing. Nothing wrong with it. There always is one, but they're able to do these things, and these are still solid fights for them. But once again, you're gonna have people saying these aren't the fights that we want, and Canelo's always gonna get that in a way. But I think he's a little bit too picky and choosy right now. But he's afforded that luxury too. So, I mean,
I agree. Actually, I'm actually surprised you're coming at him with this demeanor because me and you, people have accused me in the past of being a Canelo fanboy or whatever because I often side with Canelo in some issues, right? Here's the thing for me with this. I get it if this is a move where he says, this is for my legacy. There's, as you stated, he's got to have Charlo come up from 160 to 168. There's no strap involved. Now, what we do know is that Joe Smith and Beterbiev are looking to unify in June. So this move makes sense for me if he moves up, say, beats Bivol. Now he can set up a unification and be undisputed in 2 different weight classes. You understand?
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, if that's the reason you're going to give me, okay, I'm good with that.
I mean, that's pushing it though. Like, come on now. Like I just don't see that being the reason. I just can't see it. Because you got to think that second fight he's coming back down to 168. Like that fluctuation shit is what fucked with Roy Jones. That's not a good thing. I know Canelo has a smaller frame where it might be comfortable for him to do it, but I mean, you got to think between putting on weight after a fight, coming down, cutting, like it's I don't think it's necessarily a good move for Canelo, and I don't think that's the angle they're going. If they wanted Beterbiev, they would have took him. But his team, Reynoso, and the rest of Canelo's team have done a good job as far as strategizing his career. So
that might be the thing though, because Beterbiev got to fight.
Yeah.
He got to fight.
Yeah.
He got to fight Joe Smith.
And he'll be
that
he'll be like 36 or 37 he'll be 36 or 37 by the time they actually fight. So I mean, age him out, put some wear and tear on his body. He's already an older champion on his, same shit he did with Kovalev essentially.
Yeah.
Fighting an older guy. I don't think Beterbiev's past it or nothing like Kovalev was, but like let's just be real, he's a seasoned 37. You know what I'm saying? With the long amateur career in Eastern Europe. So, I mean, it would probably, if they wanted to play that chess move, they could, but I just don't see it happening. They've gone back back and forth too many times about their feelings about Beterbiev for me to ever take them seriously and then wanting to fight them, especially seeing Canelo on the ESPN format. Not going to happen. I just don't see it happening. I don't know.
That's a great point. Look, real fast, let me run through the comments. Clarence McLean came through. What's up, homie? Much love as always. He said, salute my brothers. Then John Boyd Belton said word that he was talking about when we were talking about Canelo having an option. He said that I think this a side win both ways for Canelo. I can see that exactly. He's going to be the A side regardless of the situation. That's why he is the pound for pound king, but he's also the cash cow of boxing. So he gets to pick and choose whoever he wants. And anyone can make the argument for what he's done with his legacy. He's earned that right. He also said that, but at least he's active. At least we say about the old 147 fighters, it works. I agree. It is good to see the pound for pound guy fight at least twice or sometimes 3 times a year. Moving on. Well, before we do, I'm just gonna say I really hope for his legacy's sake it is for that going for undisputed is why he's not taking the deal. I've defended Canelo quite often. I don't think Canelo's scared of anybody. I don't think he's scared of Benavidez at all.
I mean, and what happened to the whole thing about him and Sugar Booger dude from the cruiserweight? Whatever happened.
I think that was always just smoke and mirrors, something that got thrown out there and then got blown up. I mean, or maybe they really were planning it and they just couldn't get it to fall through. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing because he's getting flack for this. He was already receiving flack for that. So I mean,
but we're gonna find out right now. We're gonna find out. This is gonna be interesting. Who really knows boxing, right? Because the people who really know boxing and watch boxing and know who Dmitry Bivol is and how good of a fighter this guy really is, this is not a bad fight for us. I shouldn't see anybody that I respect.
I mean, but it's not. But I mean, it's not something that's going to win over the casuals like And I guess I can't even say that because Canelo has the Hispanic fan base that will tune in for him. But
do you think the Charlo fight would have because
yeah, more than a Bivol, yes, it definitely moves the needle a whole lot more. And as far as
I think here's my problem. Of why I perceive this. To me, I have no problem with this fight. I much would have rather seen him fight Benavidez though than Triple G after. That's the only part of the 2 fight deals on each side I don't like. Here's the deal with the Charlo. I don't believe Charlo can beat Canelo. Right? I don't believe he can. I believe Bivol has a shot, a legitimate chance to beat Canelo Alvarez. Okay. That's what I mean? For me, I think he really does. I think he really has a legitimate chance. I don't think Charlo can, especially based off his last couple performances. I don't see how he beats Canelo. I could be wrong. You know what I mean?
I feel like I'll probably give Bivol a slightly better chance. I think his footwork is a little bit better. But there has been a kryptonite to Canelo. I mean, he struggles against. I mean, I don't want to put it out there like that, but it's going to come out how it comes off. He struggles with black fighters. I mean, he doesn't necessarily look pretty against them. He doesn't look spectacular. He doesn't take the same chances. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that's based on style. I think that the African American fighters that we have seen him fight that move, he has problems with.
I mean, Danny Jacobs didn't fucking move. He was in his face. So I'm just like, Canelo didn't look great in that fight neither. So I just mean like he struggles with black fighters. He doesn't take the same risks, the same chances, unless it's like maybe a James Kirkland. But I mean, like,
knocked out James Kirkland.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that was James Kirkland. You know what I'm saying? It was put out by Ishida already.
So at that point, James Kirkland only had one loss.
Yeah, but I mean, he had been put down. Like, he was already chinny, bro. Like, we knew what it was.
Well, he got knocked out. The one time he hadn't had prior to that fight that he didn't have Ann Wolf in his corner, he got knocked out in the first round, and then he went out there and got obliterated by Canelo in, what was it, 3 or 2?
I want to say 2 or 3, but nevertheless, it just is what it is, and that's why I'm like, that fight package does not look attractive for Canelo. Like, that really is the harder fight package if you're going off of Canelo hysterically against black fighters. And then you got this beast in Benavidez that's 25 years old. What is he, 6'1"?
Yeah.
Bringing sledge.
Out of all of them, I think he has the best chance. So I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah, bringing sledgehammers. He's going to take some blows, though. I mean, Canelo ain't going to go out like that. You know, Benavidez gets hit. So
the thing with Bivol, though, Canelo's not going to be able to, because there's no guarantee that he can knock this guy out late. There's no guarantee. So, like the some of the stuff that we've seen with versus Caleb Plant, where he got started late in the fight, and versus Billy Joe Saunders, I don't think we can afford to see that from him in this fight. Because if we see that slow guy who's only looking to pot shot, get off one, you know what I mean, one mega counter punch or one of them, uppercuts, that's going to lose the fight to Bivol if he does this. I don't think he can knock Bivol out late. I don't think you can play that Russian roulette game.
Well, Joe Smith with one hand, with one arm, like he almost clipped. Well, I won't say he almost clipped him, but he had him had some rocky moments with just the one arm Joe Smith. Canelo obviously a better counter puncher, putting his punches together. Joe Smith is more 1-2, looking for that big right hand. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it's without a room either, just because Bivol hasn't necessarily been in there with the guys that can do it. So, I'm not going to rule that out. It will definitely be a war of attrition. I think Canelo's going to have to bring his lunch. That's for real. He's going to have to be get Bivol off his block essentially, and not let him just utilize the ring. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If he can do that, like, it's going to be a tougher fight for him. But I think the other package from PBC was probably just too difficult at the end of the day for the money, and he's getting the same thing, if not more, from DAZN. People would be happy. The Triple G fight is going to sell itself because he still has a big enough brand, even though it's probably 2 years too late for that fight.
I'm sorry, man. I hope if the stipulation is Triple G's got to win his next fight, right? I'm sorry. Call me a hater. Call me whatever you want. I don't want to see part 3, so I'm gonna be going for home. Who's he fighting? Murata? Is that who he's fighting over?
Yeah.
Is he fighting over Japan? I'm hoping Murata beats him. Like just please. You know what I mean? Because I know Murata's not going to get no shot at Canelo. He's not welcome to red panty night when you get the call from Canelo. He's not getting that call. Someone else will get the call, you know what I mean? And we have a better chance maybe of Andre. Then if we could get Andre, like if the package would have been Bivol first, Andre afterwards, I would have been ecstatic.
So why isn't Andre's name being thrown out now with the move that he's moving up to fight for an interim title at 168? Like, why isn't his name being included in the talk still? Because, I mean, he has a bigger name than Bivol, if we're being honest. If we're being honest, nobody knows either of these guys, but Demetrius Andre is probably the more known out of both of the two. You know what I'm saying? In a more well-known division. Like, 175 is not necessarily a well-known division.
Real fast, John Boyce Belton said, I'm a manager, and I can tell you this, Bivol is the setup to Triple G. Bivol is on a decline in my eyes. He went 12 rounds with a good fighter at best. I think he's talking about Canelo is taking advantage of complacent champions. They haven't had the big lights on for a while.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. I just responded to John's comment. When you're Canelo, everything is big lights. That's what comes with the territory of him. Unfortunately, he gets to play those cards, but there's one or two in every generation. We had Floyd, we had Oscar. Now we got Canelo. I don't think Anthony Joshua has been afforded the luxuries of picking and choosing the way Canelo is right now.
No.
But it is what it is. That's just the politics, and it comes with the fan base. He brings the biggest fan base known to boxing, which are Hispanics. So, it just is what it is. It comes with the territory. I don't necessarily care or agree with it all the time, but I know this is something that's going to occur in boxing. So, I don't necessarily bitch about it, anymore.
All right, real fast. MB 2.0 has joined us from YouTube. Salute my brother. He said I would have been doing backflips if he was talking back when I said if Andre would have been part of that deal. I think he's calling Canelo not picking the PBC option a duck.
I can't even be mad. It's a good stance, man. It is the tougher fight.
It is a bad look. And I've defended Canelo a million times on here and on heavy bag boxing. I'm sure they want to get me on there this Tuesday just to rip it. Trying to hear my opinion on that. But it's just a bad look, especially when it's being reported what's really got him to favor the matchroom deal was the fact Benavidez was going to be part of the deal. John Boy goes on, he says Andre did 9,000 homes once, and that will hold him back for a minute. Yeah. So, well, we'll see what happens because either fight deal has actually been agreed upon yet.
I know G is holding up another one. I think there's some small things contractually, not just Triple G winning his next fight. There's going to be some.
Yeah, well, from what I read today, and I'm going to cut you off, Triple G is actually holding up the deal too. I think he's wanting some more incentives or something.
Yeah, so it's not just him winning. I think the fight against Murata is a foregone conclusion already. So I'm not worried about that part. So it's
you never know. You never know, bro. And I was just gonna say that real fast before moving on from this topic. MB 2.0 from YouTube came back and said again, Bivol fight is fine, but all that's missing is Andre bout. I agree. If the Andre would have been part of that deal, I don't think we'd even be having this discussion.
Definitely agree.
So moving on, let's talk about the lightweight division, and that is the news that most likely George Kambosos is going to sign a fight with Lomachenko in Australia. It will no doubtly still be billed as the undisputed lightweight world championship fight. Although the argument can be made, as always we've discussed on here, that Haney, until someone takes the strap from Haney, they cannot be realistically the undisputed champion. Seeing that we are getting Lomachenko, though, are you disappointed that we didn't get Haney?
So I've been sounding off on this probably for like 2 or 3 days in one of my other groups on Facebook, my chat groups, and I'm very perturbed about the what's going on as far as the talks, the option now being Lomachenko as the front runner. I'm upset about it. It doesn't do anything to change this WBC shit. It looks like Kambosos is talking out both sides of his mouth. We'll do it. We'll get this shit out of the way. That's what he said after the fight. You know what I'm saying? After Haney handled this fight, he said the same thing. Reiterated the same thing. Let's put all this to rest. There will be no questions. So to me, I feel like Lou DiBella is doing his job as a promoter, and he's trying to parlay this to what he can for Kambosos, because ultimately, this is going to be his last, hurrah as far as champion. He's losing to Haney, he's losing to Lomachenko. He's going to lose to both of them. So there really is no win-win situation other than him getting this rematch clause that's put Lomachenko as the front runner. I was seeing the other day that on Twitter, Haney basically said Eddie offered him the same thing. Now that's where the problem is. The problem lies in the money. It lies with the promotion. Lou DiBella ain't got shit to offer. He has no network, so he can't offer anything. DAZN is pretty much showing that they don't believe in Haney as far as putting up that kind of money. to go to Australia, even for a pay-per-view fight. Haney wouldn't sell a fucking pay-per-view. With the fight with Lomachenko is going to be on ESPN pay-per-view from what I'm hearing, and both fights would be in Australia. So at first I was hearing there's some reluctance from Haney to go to Australia, but he put that to rest. So I'm upset about this whole thing, especially now that the WBO has somehow brought their way in and ordered a fight between Kambosos and Lomachenko when they were already in negotiations. So, I mean, it's just too much fuckery going on in this situation. There's no point for the WBO to stick his nose in something that was already being taken care of. Secondly, I think it just confuses the situation even more because, like, the WBC situation is still in the air. And I'm going to be mad because it's going to be a situation where we didn't get this WBC thing cleared with a pure undisputed champion. And if Lomachenko has a chance to get all the belts, he's not going to fight Haney. Haney probably end up moving up. You know what I'm saying? But Loma had the chance to fight him before, and he started all this mess with the WBC. So I'm not happy with what's going on with this situation right now at all, man.
Man, I can get that because you're one of the people that side with the camp that we can't call it George Kambosos undisputed because Haney has the strap, and until we can put that away, we don't really have an undisputed champion. For me, though, I think it's beautiful irony. Lopez, when he took the belts from Lomachenko, refused to give him the rematch, and now we get to see.
But what's beautiful about it when Loma's getting the shot again? Fucking Haney hasn't had his.
Well, he went up. Man, come on, Lomachenko has beaten two quality fighters in his last two fights.
That's cool, but he's beltless. Haney has a belt. Why can't he get the shot first? He was denied it with Lomachenko when he wanted to fight Lomachenko. That wasn't Haney's fault. Loma did that shit. I don't think Loma is the one that needs to be rewarded right now. That's my problem with it. I think Loma's still the best at 135, but I have a problem with him being rewarded this fight right now at this instance. Yes, I have a problem with it.
I get it. I get what you're saying, and I can agree with you. I can agree with you. Haney should. He has been.
He's been fucked over.
But at the same time, the strap he has, man, is still like the email belt, my guy. It's still the email.
We're doing the email thing. You see what I'm saying? It's
still the email belt.
So we're still going with this email thing because somebody refused to fight him. So that's what I'm saying. It's bullshit. He gets that into the deal. Any way you look at it.
Devin Haney, no matter what, George, in my opinion, George was losing. He was going to lose. I thought even if he rematched Lopez, I thought Lopez and his team would go in a little bit more focused into the camp. One, I don't. What were you? And I love the Lopez. Camp. You know what I mean? What were you doing letting him get punched in the stomach by a 360-pound monster? You see that before the fight?
Yeah, I seen there. I still seen clips of that now. Just the other day.
Yeah. What were you doing letting him? Because apparently there was some type of tear. I don't think they know when it happened or how it happened, but I would be looking at that like, what do you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what were you doing letting that go down, bro? This man's the undisputed lightweight world champion. Why are you letting a 360-pound behemoth? He's still 307 pounds, man. You know what I'm saying? He's freaking humongous. So it didn't make much sense to me. But I thought even if they went back into camp that they would pull that out. I thought if he fights Haney, he's losing immediately. If he fights Loma, I would even probably have favored Richard Gomez because George had prior to winning the Lopez, George had struggled against Lee Shelby, right?
Yeah, he didn't look good against Lee Shelby.
Yeah, and I was like, so there's no way I could favor him against any of these guys. But then he went out and proved me wrong against Lopez that first time. I in my opinion, there's some reasons why that transpired. But George could prove us all wrong again and beat Lomachenko. You never know. I don't mind the fight. I do think that Lomachenko will fight Devin Haney, though. I don't think that there's anything about Devin Haney that Lomachenko fears or would look to duck.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the opportunity was there. You did what you did and caused this whole fucking bullshit to where you weren't going to be labeled undisputed anyway. So what the fuck was it for? You know what I'm saying? Like it was a whole bunch of nonsense. We only have three of these champions in all of boxing. Juan Francisco Estrada, Lomachenko, and Canelo. Three motherfucking fighters with this bullshit franchise thing. Get rid of this bullshit, man, and get rid of the Bridgerweight shit while you're at it. You're only fucking organization with the shit. I'm fucking fed up with the WBC, man.
Well, then too, like, so you, because the report out of George's camp is the main breaking point with the Haneys was they were
going to Australia, right? Yeah, and he said he'd do it. I mean, he was on social media saying he'll go. He said whatever they're offering, offer them the same thing. That's the thing. DAZN is not going to offer the same money that ESPN is going to offer Kambosos. That's what the problem is. So yeah, Lomas are ultimately going to get this fight because it's the money and it's a guaranteed rematch, both in Australia. I mean, shit. The paper is where the paper is. So I mean, I'm not mad at it. And unfortunately, Lou DiBella can't do anything about it to offer any. You know, he's not offering anybody anything because they're in no position to offer, other than having the belt.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's boiled down that way. Lomachenko's going to get the fight because that's just where the dollars are. DAZN's not going to put up that same kind of money for Devin. Supposedly they're losing money on his fights. This will have to be a fight that's on pay-per-view because ESPN is doing this fight on pay-per-view. I don't necessarily feel like Devin Haney could sell any kind of pay-per-view. Nobody's going to pay for his fights. Nobody's going to pay money on a pay-per-view fight for him right now. So that's just what it is, man.
Yeah, it does suck for Devin Haney in his camp too. If you know what I mean, another opportunity that being a big fight, they lose.
You know what?
That is the one thing guys like me who do like to talk about the email belt and his resume.
If Devin Haney was actually to get this fight and won the fight, people would be on him for dropping the belts and moving to 140. Yeah. So I mean, like there would never be. It would be a never-ending story for him. You know. Yeah. They'd be saying he's the one ducking Loma now because, you know, whatever he's trading weight right now. So you know, it is what it is. But I think
when he does move up to 140, and this wasn't, you know, just because we're talking here about, if he does move up to 140, do you think he actually gets the Lopez fight?
The Lopez fight? Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it's possible. I mean, it's one of the bigger fights in the division still right now. I mean, it's not too many big names in the division other than Taylor. You know, Prograis, he's fighting nobodies right now. I mean, so I think it'd definitely be one of the bigger fights at 140 immediately.
Prograis versus Haney at 140 would be very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but Prograis is kind of stalling out his own career right now, man. When you fight Ivan Red catches, you know.
MB 2.0 says the WBO were Weird Bob's operatives. You can't. I mean, it does look bad. It does kind of look. You could be like, Al Heyman owns, you know, Canelo. Outside of Canelo, who else works who's champions in most of the WBC? That's Al Heyman and PBC. Then you got Bob with the WBO. You know what I mean?
PBC got what, WBC and the WBA, honestly. They got with Errol.
They do whatever they really want. So speaking of Errol Spence, I'm glad you brought that up. Speaking of Errol Spence, we found out they're putting that undercard together. There was a fight announced today, and that was a man that impressed, I think, everybody in his last performance in a loss. I think Isaac Cruz came out of that fight with a possibility to build a huge fan base based on the performance he gave in a loss. And he gets a chance versus Gamboa on the undercard. It's the Spence Ugas undercard, right? And then we get to see Stanonis. I think he's going to win this fight rather handily. But I'm glad to see Isaac Cruz get thrown on here, even though, you know, Gamboa is in the latter stages of his career. He's not the same guy that we did, you know, get to see early on in his career. But I think it's a good bounce back fight from what we did see in his previous fight with Tank?
I mean, for this fight to be in Texas, a pay-per-view card, this is the perfect lead-in fight to the main event. I know it's Gamboa, but I'm saying because you got a Hispanic in Isaac Cruz, who has an exciting style, who's rugged. He comes to he comes to fight. You know what I'm saying? And Gamboa definitely comes to take punishment. So, I think it's a perfect lead-in. And it's definitely going to be an opportunity for Cruz to continue building his brand and fan base, being on that platform against underneath Errol Spence and Ugas. So, I mean, I think it's great. I think it's a great lead-in, basically because it's going to be the fireworks before the fireworks. I'm happy with the fight, even though, I'm happy for Gamboa.
I'm glad Gamboa's getting paid. He's probably going to get knocked out.
Yeah, this one is going to be pretty rugged for him. Like, we might see we're going to see Gamboa get, cut through. He's going to get headbutt, some motion. It's gonna be pretty ugly.
MB 2.0 said he pulled Gamboa out of the retirement home. I don't think it's gotten that bad for him yet, but he's right on the cusp of that, bro. It really is. It's sad. Here we are laughing. It's like, bro, here we are laughing about a guy that was once had one of the best skill sets you'd ever see. You ever get to see him as an amateur, man? I mean, this dude he was special. At one point, you can say, "Yo, Gamboa was a special guy, man." Now he's like a stepping stone, and here we are laughing about how they're pulling him out of the retirement home. Like, bro, that's sad, bro.
Yeah, I mean, but shit, he stalled out on this career a lot because of promotional issues, and to see him getting these paydays still, at the end of his career, I'm happy for him. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's about to get the shit kicked out of him, I'm happy that he can still get some glamour out of this. You know what I'm saying? He didn't necessarily get a lot of glamour when he was 120, winning belts at 126 and 130. So, I mean, it comes in one form or another, bro.
Agreed, bro. All right, let's jump into our next topic real fast. And that was Dillian Whyte has, I believe,
one.
Did we skip one?
Yeah.
What was it?
Carlo Castano.
I don't know if I added that picture, bro. What is it?
Charlo Castano rematch being postponed.
Okay.
I guess it was announced. It's all good. It was announced earlier this week to the dismay of many. This fight seems to be doomed for some reason. I don't know why, but the fight is going to be postponed at least 4 weeks due to a shoulder injury from Brian Castano. So who knows what's going to happen with the rescheduling this fight. They were already under strict orders because of, the organizations had to agree to allow step-asides and shit like that just to make this rematch possible. And you know what? If this rematch doesn't happen with the postponement, I'm going to say fuck both of them because you should have got it done the first time, you dummies.
Yeah, that should have been handled the first time, but hopefully we won't see outside of this delay another delay. If not, though, we can't get that fight. Who would you like to see Charlo fight next?
Who, Charlo? Honestly, there's nothing else I want to see from him at 154 other than him going undisputed and moving up. I think that's kind of the whole thing about his brother moving up to 168 is that I think it's time for him to move to 160, and they're not going to fight in the same. I don't think they're going to fight in the same class together anymore, just because of the issues it caused with them in the past, as far as the competition between the brothers. So, hopefully this rematch has happened because it would be nice for Charlo or Castano to be able to cap off being undisputed, which is something that's a rarity. We don't get to see it often, and just having the opportunity for it to happen a second time when they couldn't get it done the first one around, we're lucky. I know Tim Hsu is chopping at the bit to fill in for Charlo, from what I've been seeing, saying he'd fill in for Castano. I know Charlo's not going to take that fight, but hopefully the WBO upholds everything they've been doing and allow Castano, to be able to postpone or his mandatory with shoe still, which I know is something that their camp is trying to debate now. So keep our prayers and hopes up for this fight, the rematch to happen, man.
Agreed. Let's talk about a fight a lot of people have been waiting to happen for a long time, and that's Dillian Whyte finally getting his shot at a world title. At least according to him, he's been asking for it forever. But now that he has it on the table, he doesn't seem to want to sign the contract. He's like he lost his pen. What do you think about what we're hearing that Dillian Whyte now is holding up the fight by not signing his contract?
So I guess I'm going to have to give a little history lesson here. Or I'm going to try my best to. I'll fumble the rock a little bit here, but this isn't the first. This isn't the first for Dillian Whyte. You know, he says the WBC's been screwing him for years and denying him a mandatory. So let's go back to how many eliminators did he turn down? He turned down with Luis Ortiz.
Yeah.
He turned down a couple others. He got sparked by your boy Povetkin. You know what I'm saying? Like, he finds ways to fuck up shit for himself. So now he has this, I guess it's 2 days now, or it might be down to 1 day for him to sign the contract, and he's not going to sign. And they're saying if he does sign, he's not going to promote the fight. He said they're going to have to pay more.
If he doesn't sign this goddamn contract, I don't want to hear excuse my language, a fucking word out of Dillian Whyte for quite a fucking while, bro.
Man, he should have said a long time ago. The moment that he declined the eliminator with Luis Ortiz was when he should have really shut up. Like, there was nothing he could ever said again about the WBC denying him, because he denied the eliminator. He refused it flat out. So, I mean, that's when he really should have shut up. But, you know, he can't. He always puts his foot in his mouth. And, I mean, I was one of the happiest people to see Papa can knock him out, because he had that shit coming to him. You know, he just had it coming to him, bro. But this will be a further sign that Dillian Whyte doesn't want to be a champion. You know, well, like, why does he's getting a good payday still? You know, they've gone back and forth with this litigation as far as trying to change the purse percentage, which is done. You know, that's not going to happen. So, I mean, you got to deal what you got to deal with. If you want the belt, you got to take the short end. That's just what it is. You don't bring anything to the table as far as being a former champion. What are you going to say? You're an interim titleist? What the fuck is that? That's not a belt. You know? So, I don't know, man. Dillian Whyte definitely needs to sign this contract and go through with it, or, you know, he could forever shut his mouth. I don't want to hear anything else about him in the division anymore if he doesn't say take this fight. Like, I'm done completely.
MB said I was on his side for a while, but this is unacceptable. I was too. I've defended him against, you know what I mean? I've said he deserves a title shot.
Why? Why does he deserve a title shot? He declined eliminator.
But he's also been the number one contender for a while. So, like, you don't think he deserved any type of title shot? Like, he won a belt at one point. Was it like he won a silver or diamond belt? Okay, so he was supposed to be the next in line, and then he didn't happen.
Number one contenders. You had to fight an eliminator. You know, there's a number one contender in the IBF, but that doesn't make him the eliminator until he fights the guy below him. Like, that's how they do it. They do a final eliminator, and now you're the guy that's supposed to get the shot. Now you're the mandatory. Just because you're rated number one doesn't mean you get that shot nuts. Maybe if it's a voluntary, but generally you had to be
He won the eliminator, man. He won some eliminators. It still didn't get a shot, bro. I remember what was it?
Luis Ortiz.
He declined that. He declined that one. I probably would too, because he'd probably lose. Luis Ortiz would probably beat him. Even though I don't know, man, because we see Luis Ortiz struggle a little bit against Charles Martin. So either Martin's vastly improved or Ortiz is slipping, bro.
I mean, he turned down two.
I mean, like, if he doesn't sign this damn contract, I don't want to hear nothing.
He had another one. He had another one against what's his name? A dude that lost to Anthony. Pulev. That was the other.
Yeah, he didn't want to fight Pulev.
That was an eliminator as well. This guy does not want to be a damn champion. You turned down the fight against Pulev. He turned down. He was a mandatory to be AJ to fight AJ. He turned that shit down. He doesn't want to be a champion, bro. He doesn't want to be a champ. I'm done with him.
All right, so we'll jump to our next topic, and that is news that broke that Ryan Garcia has parted ways with what many people feel is the best trainer in boxing today, and that's Eddy Reynoso. Leaving Team Canelo. One of the reasons that he has stated is he didn't feel Eddy, had all the time that he required. He's since moved on to Joe Goosen. Great trainer in his own right. Has trained some of very, very well-known fighters and champions throughout the years, of course. So it's not it's a huge step down or anything. It did come as a shock to me, though. It did come as a shock to me, especially from what we've seen in Ryan in his last fight, where he was able to take, I believe in his last fight when he stopped Campbell with a body shot, and you can see some things that he was kind of mimicking Canelo in a few small areas. For this to end that quickly, though, I was shocked by what do you think? What do you make of this news?
I guess I have mixed feelings about it, actually. So the issue as far as I think he's never going to be in a position to get this kind of mentorship again. That's the problem with it. I don't really care about the Reynoso part. I think the shit with Canelo would have been very valuable for him to keep that in his side. Canelo definitely, I think Canelo cherished that relationship as well, trying to guide him. I think he saw a lot of good in Ryan Garcia, and he's also criticized him, which he needs to do, being a mentor. So, I think that's the real issue with him leaving the team. That's the biggest thing he's going to lose. I don't necessarily feel it's going to be Reynoso he's losing, even though he's a hell of a trainer. I think the tutelage and the mentorship from Canelo is what he's really missing. Now, Joe Goosen, I think the thing with that is they actually have familiarity with each other. So, it's not a bad pickup at all. Joe Goosen, he's a legendary trainer. He's trained a lot of champions, the Ruelas brothers. Who else he trained? I can't even think.
Diego Corrales.
Oh, yeah, wow. Forgot about that. That was like his second trainer, though. He had somebody else before Goosen.
It was his second trainer. I think his first trainer was his daddy.
That was his pops.
His daddy was his first trainer. Goosen got mad at him when he threw in the towel against Floyd.
Yeah. But Goosen, he's a very knowledgeable boxing soul. I love his commentary on PBC fights, or on the PBC cards that show up. It's not. I don't think it's a bad match. That he actually worked with Ryan while he was in the amateurs. So it's not a bad look at all. He's going to keep his fundamentals at least. With being Joe Goosen, he's not going to slip up. But I think he's just really going to miss from that tutelage from Canelo. So that's the disappointment behind him, and because we didn't get to see him maximize his potential because he's been on the sideline so much. While he's been with that camp.
Real fast to go back through some comments. MB said Wilder should have fought Whyte for his own development. That was a fight I was interested in seeing personally when they were going back and forth in social media there for a while. Jumping to our next topic, he said, I'm rooting for Ryan, but he might have been kicked out. He might have been kicked out of Reynoso's gym. He said, also, I didn't like how he was talking to Ellie from taking step back. He's talking about Ellie. While he was shadowboxing today, if I was Joe, I would kick Ellie out of my gym for the rest of the session. I think that when they invite Ellie in, they know what's going to happen. He's a pretty popular guy. But
Joe's not going to let. Yeah, Joe Goose is not going to let just anybody in his gym. So, I guess that there was a reason behind a method behind the madness with this one. I don't think it's going to be like he's in Robert Garcia's gym every goddamn day. And if it does, that's going to be a problem. With Ryan. Ryan's already lacks focus. You don't need Ellie in his ear every goddamn day kissing his ass. You know what I'm saying? So, That's just being honest. I don't think Joe will allow that either. So, I mean, there was some method behind the madness if it was just today. Something to monitor looking forward. So, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, MB.
Yeah, John Boy Bilton came back and said Ryan needs to stop with the layoffs. Yeah, it's so hard with Ryan. I want to root for the kid because I think he's excellent for boxing, considering the social media following he's amassed. But all of the pulling out of fights, turning down to go, like, you know what I mean? He's had an opportunity to fight some names in this division.
Hey, check this out.
Not necessarily world champions, but names.
Check this out, Malachi. I got some advice for you, Ryan. Don't pull out of any more fights. Pull out of women. You started, your pull-out game is lame, bro. What? But don't pull out of the shit.
Yeah, but I don't want to criticize him too harshly because they blamed one of the pullouts on mental illness. If it's the truth, if that's the truth, fine. Take care of yourself. Get yourself mentally right. But it's hard for me to believe that at the same time when I see you continuing to post on Instagram, like your mental health is good. Like, and maybe I'm not a physician, so maybe I'm speaking out of bounds here. I just went like, and I mean, I don't know. It's not a good look for me when you're telling me your mental health's all messed up and you can't box, but you're still making Instagrams where you're punching people and punching bags, doing the body punch challenge and all the other stuff that they do over there. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around the fact that you have some problem or you're injured or something happened, and that's why you're not in these fights.
Yeah. Hey, Malachi, do you know which hand it was he injured? Was it his left hand or his power hand or what?
I don't recall off the top of my head what his last injury, which was again to one of his hands. I don't remember.
Injury. I just don't know if it was his power hand or what.
Yeah.
He is serious. I mean, he posted the depression things, and a couple days later, he was on the beach vacation. So, yeah, I mean,
well, I don't think this is a bad move necessarily from a tactical standpoint, because Goosen is a excellent mentor and coach, and he has been in the past, and he's a proven commodity. But it was a bit of a shock to see them part ways so soon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he got the most. I don't think he benefited as good as he could have. Like I said, my thing is, I think that he would have got a lot more out of the relationship with Canelo. I mean, he should have stuck around for that. You know, that all the talent there, like iron sharpens iron. You know, you look at Derrick James camp. You know, iron sharpens iron with those boys down there. You got Spence, Charlo, Frank Martin. You know, so I mean, I think it's kind of the same way with the Reynosos. They have a full-on camp to where, like, you're getting good work, you're getting good tutelage from all the other guys that are, you know, you look at a Frank Sanchez, fucking Cuban boxing school. If you're not learning from that guy, come on now. Like, he could have picked up a lot from everybody in that camp, not just Canelo. But I think Canelo would have been the one that could help him handle the fame and, you know, the shit he's dealing with now at a young age because Canelo's done it. So, I mean, I think that's what he would have benefited from the most. So, I kind of do think now that I'm looking at it in hindsight, Ryan is losing a lot, you know, even though Goosen's not a bad trainer at all. Like, he's definitely a good trainer, but he's losing a lot more than gaining.
We'll see how it works out for him in the future. All right, so we've come to the point in our show where we're going to hit our predictions for this weekend. Let's kick off with the fight that I personally have been waiting for a while. I can't wait to see Kell Brook, my man, drop some chocolate brownies on the head of Amir Khan. Amir Khan's going to get knocked out in this fight. I think Amir Khan might be up at some point in the fight, but as always, we will finish the fight with Amir Khan on his back. I'm taking my man Kell Brook, KO victory.
Yeah, you know what? I don't care who's in Amir Khan's corner. If he's been working with Bud Crawford or not, I will agree with your sentiment. Kell Brook by KO. You can't fix that chin. You know, Amir Khan got all the speed in the world. Even Floyd Mayweather Sr. said, Floyd Mayweather's dead. He fights like a washing machine. So, with that said, I got Kell Brook by KO. Chocolate brownie to the chin, round 4. And Connor's gonna wish they had that fight at 154 instead of 147 or 149.
Yeah, this fight's several years too late. It would have been, in my opinion.
But it's sold out in 10 minutes, so it's still a big ass fight. UK supports their fighters to the fullest.
Oh, it's absolutely still a big fight over there, but like this fight should have happened 5 years ago. Both these guys were because neither one of them are what they were 5 years ago. I'm sorry. I was very high on Kell Brook at 140. I thought he was going to beat Errol Spence, and he didn't. But I was very high on him. I think that money grab that he went up and grabbed that money from Triple G fucked up his career. I'm sorry. Now that I look back at his career, the trajectory of his career was a downhill from that point on.
Errol Spence. He knew he was going to get his ass whipped by Errol Spence. He knew it was going to happen. That's why he did it. He knew it. I
don't believe that because Kell was winning the fight, bro. Up to like the 7th round, Kell was winning that fight. And then things changed. Errol made an adjustment. Congratulations. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is why I end up in an argument with Derek James and have to fucking apologize to him when they beat Kell.
Stop bringing up this goddamn fight, man.
This is what happens, right?
He busted his nuts.
Kell was winning the fight. I don't think Kell was ever afraid of Errol Spence Jr. It was a money grab.
Up to round 7, it was very competitive. And after that, that's when Spence said, "I'm gonna take your nuts." And as simple as that. You know what I'm saying?
I think that I don't think the reason he fought Triple G was like, "Oh, I'm gonna lose anyway to Errol Spence, so I might as well get this money." I think that they were like, Kell will do pretty good up there. We'll grab some cash. We'll come back down and beat Errol. And I think that what happened was it fucked up his career. His face got broke. It was never the same. I think that now that every time Kell gets hit hard in the face and he feels a certain type of way, I think it's always going to revert back to that beating that he got from Triple G in his mind, bro.
So if Triple G, he doesn't take the Triple G fight, you think he's even more competitive against Spence, or does he get the dog?
I don't know that I'm not saying that if he don't take the Triple G fight, I'm not saying that if he don't, he beats Errol. I would have to believe that his face just seems weakened since getting that beaten by Triple G, bro.
All right. Well, let's go to our next one, man. The next fight is actually a little bit more concerning. I heard some stuff as well about this earlier. Jaime Munguia versus Demetrius Ballard tomorrow on DAZN.
That's right. Jaime Munguia, 38-0. What does he have? 30 knockouts.
Yeah.
One of the best fighters, in my opinion, right now. And he was taking on a very good fighter, Demetrius Ballard. I heard that Munguia passed out.
Yeah, he fainted at the
weigh-in. I hate that they do this. Mexican boxer, Jaime Munguia. Why is
he can't just be boxer.
right. But apparently he passed out, had a problem at the weigh-in, or fainted or passed out. That's a big red flag for me. So I'm starting to think Ballard's chances are much greater in this fight than what I was coming in with.
And Munguia is generally a high motor guy. So I'm wondering how much this is going to affect him tomorrow too. I haven't seen much of Ballard. I know he's a lot lankier than Jaime Munguia, but he looks like a Robert Brandt looking ass motherfucker. So you know how I feel about Robert Brandt. With that said, I'm going to give Munguia the benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to pay close attention to his stamina and fatigue. What stage he fatigues in tomorrow. Like I said, I don't know enough about Ballard to say this incident at the weigh-in is going to put him over. He'll still have the whole day to rehydrate the whole night. He'll come in the ring 175, 180 pounds or whatever it is, and hopefully refreshed. with a nice rest and off his legs. So I'm gonna go with Munguia.
I'm gonna go with Munguia too. I think. What are you going with? Stoppage or
no? I'll go with decision. Yeah, I'll give Ballard enough credit for that to say it'll be a decision based on the weigh-in thing.
The weigh-in thing. If Munguia can't get him out of there, and if he's that drained, bro, where he's fainting at the weigh-in, the longer that fight goes, the worse it could really get for Munguia.
Yeah, and I mean, Jaime Munguia is a high output kind of guy. This is surprising he's going through this because he's actually been a lot better since he's been in Eric Morales' camp. Had Morales as his trainer. So I'm kind of surprised this is happening. He's looked a lot better. He did struggle at 140. I'm surprised that he's struggling with 160 so soon. But we'll see tomorrow, man. How bad it really is. He still put in the road work and everything. It was probably just a weight cut, but he still did his due diligence as far as work. Who knows how bad the weight cut was. And, it's pretty bad for him at 154. So, I mean, who could, Demetrius Andrade is going through the same thing now at 160, and he started out as 154. I never thought I would see him want to move to 168, but, struggling to make the weight. So it's kind of weird to see these happening to these guys that have not necessarily been known or, that started at smaller weights, struggling to make, higher weights. They're going up, 6 or 7 pounds now? 6 pounds? So I don't know, man. We'll see how it plays out tomorrow, but I'll still pick him to win by UD. It might look ugly as hell, but, he'll get the victory. It's in Tijuana, of all places. He's definitely not going to get dick down over there.
I'm gonna take Munguia as well. I'm gonna take it by KO. But if his body's in that type of shape, like physically, and it gets like past the 6th into 7th, 8th, he could be in some trouble. We'll see what happens. Before we run out, let's read through the comments. Back talking about our our discussion about Triple G and Chocolate Brownie. He said he got greedy for the money. He came back. MB said he might not have lost his eye in that Spence fight if he didn't fight Triple G. That's my point. Thank you. And that was the end of his career. I mean, like, really, you could say that as a dominant welterweight, that was the point it ended for him. After that, he was never the same after that Triple G fight. I'll always say that. And he came back, he said, from crash grab to eye surgery, exactly my sentiments. All right, so that's the show for tonight. We will be back next Friday, maybe another day in the week if we get the time. But we'll definitely be back next Friday, same time. Anything you want to say before we roll out, Twine?
Yeah, thanks for joining in, everybody. Glad for the commentary, and it's a good show, man. See y'all next week.
Oh, definitely shout out to MB, Johnny Boy Belton, and Clarence McLean for coming through and dropping some comments and contributing over here. We appreciate you guys. John Boy, I'll hit you up. As I see you sent a message, I can't answer it during the show, but I'll hit you up. Yeah, sometime you come on the show and talk some boxing with us. I know you said you was a manager, so that'd be a great opportunity to come on and drop some knowledge. But outside of that, I hope everybody has a blessed weekend.
I got one. Yeah. Shout out to Sean Mason, his mom T Mason. They got a fight this weekend as well. So shout out Sean Mason. If you can check it out in Orlando, in Florida, check him out. Big up.
Absolutely. All right, that's the show. 1.